too often put shareholders before safety, profit before people's lives. And as a result of the singular focus in getting the MAX to market as quickly as possible, and the actions that were taken and many that were not taken, 346 innocent people lost their lives. Today we've heard a lot about the MCAS and its role in these tragedies. The evidence our committee has outlined today and in the months leading up to this hearing shows that Boeing did not even follow its own design requirements when it created this MCAS system and put it on the MAX. Here's what deeply troubles me. Not only did you fail to follow your own design requirements for MCAS, but you also went to great lengths to hide the existence of MCAS from your customers and even from pilots who are absolutely vital to the safe operation of the MAX. Mr. Hamilton, you're Boeing's chief engineer. It's your job to make sure MCAS works properly. I want to ask you a few questions about Boeing's internal MCAS requirements. Those design requirements were described in detail in Boeing's own coordination sheets. And these coordination sheets were updated as MCAS moved through the design process. But two sheets, one from March 2016, one from June 2018, did not change. Even after Boeing started using a newer, more powerful version of MCAS, these two sheets were never changed. Even more than a year after the 737 MAX entered service, there were still no changes. First slide, please. I'd like to focus on this slide on two specific design requirements of MCAS. Design requirement number 4, and you can see it highlighted on the screen, states, quote, MCAS shall not have any objectionable interaction with the piloting of the airplane, unquote. My time is short, so I need yes or no answers. Mr. Hamilton, did MCAS affect the piloting of Lion Air Flight 610?
The crews always had the ability to override MCAS with the stab trim switches on the wheel.
Let me ask it another way. Did the pilots in the Lion Air flight struggle to counteract the activation of the MCAS system?
As the captain was flying the airplane, if you look at the flight data recorder, the captain continually trimmed out the MCAS inputs for multiple times.
Did MCAS affect the piloting of Ethiopian Airlines flight number 302?
That accident's still under investigation. I think we'll need to...
Mr. Bolenberg, you're the CEO. The buck stops with you. You are ultimately responsible for making sure that you adhere to your design requirements. That didn't happen here, did it?
Congressman, again, we've learned some things from these accidents. We're coming back and we're updating the MCAS design and the training materials. As we went through our process, we at each step tried to make the decisions that are consistent with our process and the data we had, but clearly we didn't get it all right.
Mr. Bolenberg, are you willing to give a yes or no answer to that direct question? That didn't happen here, did it? That's really a yes or no question. Tough question, but it deserves a fair and direct response.
Congressman, I tried to give you my direct response. It's a complicated question with a
Thank you. Reclaiming my time. Mr. Hamilton, design requirement number 11. You can also see it on the slide. It says, quote, MCAS shall not interfere with dive recovery, unquote. Did MCAS affect the dive recovery of Lion Air flight number 610?
Ultimately, after multiple MCAS inputs that
were that's really intended as a yes or no question. You've had plenty of time. It's a tough one, but it deserves a yes or no answer. Did MCAS affect in any way the dive recovery of Lion Air flight number 610?
When the MCAS wasn't trimmed out as we assumed it would be, it caused the airplane to go into a dive that the crews were not able to recover from.
Mr. Hamilton, was MCAS a contributing factor into the dive as noted in the final accident report released by Indonesian investigators?
Yes.
Did MCAS affect the dive recovery of Ethiopian Airlines flight number 302?
Yes.
Mr. Molenberg, as CEO, I want to ask you the same question. Did MCAS affect the dive recovery of Lion Air flight number 610 and Ethiopian flight number 302?
Congressman, we know MCAS was a factor in both accidents, and there were a number of things occurring in both accidents. We know MCAS was a contributing factor, and we know we need to make some updates to it, and that's what we're doing.
Mr. Hamilton, I appreciate your direct answer to that question. This is back to Mr. Mullenberg. Did Boeing fail to meet your own design requirements as it relates to MCAS?
Congressman, we're still evaluating everything we've learned from those accidents. I think what you see here is that there are cases where we've implemented against a requirement set where we've learned we need to make some improvements, and that's what we're doing with the updates.
It's clear that the design of the MCAS stabilization system was fundamentally and tragically fatally flawed. The Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines tragedies don't just show the folly of the MCAS design, they also show that the system did not even meet Boeing's own design criteria. It's crystal clear to me through the course of this investigation that relinquishing approval of MCAS by the FAA was a grave mistake with severe consequences. Safety must be our top priority, and Congress must act. We owe nothing less to the victims and their families. I yield back.